Well, Ross, we have on the table a Canadian whiskey.
Yep.
Which has kind of broadened our horizons, changed our preconceptions of the category. Prior to encountering this brand, my thoughts on Canadian whiskey were Crown Royal, Canadian Club.
Yeah.
Just tastes like whiskey, generally.
Yeah,
pretty
or super sweet, and they're able to add all these flavourings. We spoke to Graeme, who is the owner of the distillery.
Graeme Macaloney.
And he told us about this amazing distillery in British Columbia.
And it's a proper single malt.
It is, and they split their production 3 different ways. So they do an Irish production, Irish style, for 30%. And he actually went to Ireland, went to Middleton, spent the time there, learned how it was done. Then he does 35% of an unpeated style and 35% of a peated style. This is the peated style, and it's really transparent. So they give us all this information. It's 57%. This one here is, Canadian Island peated single malt. It's almost got its own category there. PPM feel 54, which is really high up.
That's a lot. When you think about Ardbeg, Lagavulin, Lafroig,
that's to that level.
Same ballpark.
But when we were on the call with him, he spoke about the fact that they take a very early cut in production.
Okay.
So what I'm expecting is a similar kind of experience that I've had with the likes of Torravig, where you don't necessarily get so much peat on the nose that 54 ppm would suggest, but it might be there on the back of the palate.
Yeah, I feel like ppm is a figure that can be thrown around quite a lot, but it's almost, you're not always comparing apples with oranges.
Yeah, and it's how you can actually taste it. People always put the ppm of the spirit going into cask. It's always totally different to it coming out of cask. But yeah, cask strength. This is naturally coloured. They do a really good, interesting job. It's genuinely quite different, and it's definitely the first peated Canadian whiskey I've had.
Yeah. I think Graeme was very impressive when we spoke to him. Not only his sort of passion and his transparency, but even the way he was name dropping certain distilleries that he was inspired by.
Yeah.
So Macaloney's was inspired by Jim Swan, who's been instrumental in several distilleries that we know and love.
Yeah, so a lot of new Scottish distilleries as well, yeah.
Yeah, so Jim Swan is famous for a whole bunch of things, but STR cask is the one that springs to mind mostly. He sort of revolutionised a lot of different processes of production. And all the distilleries that he's inspired have all been decent. They've all been very, very good.
And
so
it's all given a maturity to young whiskey. That was kind of the concept of the STRs. A new distillery just like this, with it not tasting too immature or too young.
We gave Graeme a bit of a hard time, didn't we, on the call? We're like, so Jim Swan's all about shortcuts and making whiskey taste ready when it's not.
I think
which was unfair.
Yeah, I think to question, how will STR factor into production of distillery like this in the future would be interesting, because we've still not had 10, 12-year-old whiskies from these new distilleries that have used STR, but it's worked so well with their young spirit.
Yeah.
So,
but there has been a shift as well the last few years. Like, most consumers are now flavour led.
Yeah.
There's less reliance on age statements. Cask type is still important, but ultimately, if a whiskey's tasty, people are happy to spend 50, 60, 70 quid on a bottle.
Yeah. This one here, single cask selection, it's called Washington Peat. This one here, cask 169, only 201 bottles in existence. Love trying a single cask.
Yeah.
Because it gives you that little bit of, okay, we can do this. This could be experimental, see what it's all about. And this one here is a Portuguese red wine cask.
Not had many of them.
We haven't. And also peated spirit and wine casks. Not had many of them on the channel either.
There's a lot going on in this dram, isn't there?
It looks brilliant. The colours really there. So
this is one of those whiskies that, on paper,
sounds amazing.
Could be absolutely knockout.
Yeah.
Are you still pretending that you don't like peated whiskey?
I like it when I'm on Isla. But certainly...
You're just very polite to whoever's hosting you. Oh yeah, Lafroig's fantastic.
I've bought one Lafroig in my life. I've never bought an Ardbeg, but I'm always willing to try it for the name of research.
That's very good of you.
For the Bevvy channel.
Yeah. What a trooper.
Thank you.
what a burden you have to bear.
What do you think of the nose?
That's great. That reminds me of... I remember I had a Kalila bottled by our friends at Dramful, who produced some excellent liquids, which was like big sherry influence.
Yeah.
It was that sweet and smoky combination. It was all barbecue ribs and all that sort of
honestly, to me, it smells like barbecue crisps.
Yeah, like what are they called? Frazzles.
Just
Frazzles in a
like
glass.
Frazzles. a very inviting nose. It smells quite rich. It doesn't smell youthful. Doesn't smell young.
No.
But I guess the peat can sometimes hide that.
Yeah.
And also we've said that young whiskey can really work with peat.
Yeah. What do they say about peated whiskies? Peat can cover a multitude of sins,
Yeah.
which is perhaps unfair. But I think this smells...
It smells really indulgent.
Delicious.
Let's have a wee taste, see what you think. It looks brilliant.
Yeah. Let's give it a go.
Also, I feel like I'm excited there's a Scotsman out there in British Columbia making whiskey, trying something different. I was already excited by it before I tried it. What do you think?
I think for those who have concluded that Canadian whiskey is just Crown Royal and Canadian Club, this is completely different. My eyes lit up when we spoke with Graeme, and he was like, I'm really influenced by Kilchoman. And Kilchoman is a distillery that we both love. We visited once or twice. And their philosophy, their production methods, the quality of their product is outstanding.
Yeah.
I think there's elements of Kilchoman in this.
Yeah.
It's all about mouthfeel.
It's a huge compliment. Huge compliment.
Big flavour in the mouth.
Yeah. I guess, Robin, the head of production at Kilchoman.
Love Robin.
and Graeme, the head of production at his own distillery, both just love what they do.
They do. Yeah.
And great characters, so I think that's a belting dram.
I don't
feel like adding water either, which I'm surprised with.
Yeah, 57% is quite a lot. If somebody gave you a dram of this and a dram of Kilchoman Loch Gorm, which is their big sherry
style,
which is, I think it's 46, maybe 48%.
Yeah.
Do you think you could tell that one's Scotch, that one's Canadian?
Definitely not. Definitely not. To that question, I don't think I would be like, this is not Scotch.
Yeah.
Other than him being in British Columbia, that tastes to me like an Islay whiskey.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he wants that. I don't know if he would rather it was his own unique character. But I think it's a big belting dram, and it's got way more flavour, but also way more balance to it than I thought it was going to.
Yeah. Can you imagine, obviously, some of the events the WTF tasting events that we've done? I saw about blind tasting and giving people.
Nobody's assuming that's a Canadian whiskey.
Exactly. If we gave that to people without telling them what it is, their guesses would be Lagavulin, maybe
definitely
sherry Lafroig, potentially.
100%. Really interesting. Love what he's doing over there. It is genuinely different and thought provoking. This is probably the best Canadian whiskey I've had.
I knew you were going to say that. I mean, you've tried, 3 of them?
Whenever I'm in America, I do actually end up drinking a lot of different Crown Royals, but that wouldn't even legally be whiskey here.
That's true.
Whereas this would absolutely qualify.
This tastes like a proper, and it's maybe a little bit arrogant to say it, this tastes like a proper single malt Scotch whiskey.
It does. And it's maybe because it's a single cask and it's an exceptional single cask, but an absolute pleasure to share it with you, Laurie.
I think it's great. I think it holds its own against the likes of Kilchoman. So well done, Graeme. Well done, the team.
Great job. Can't wait to try more. Cheers.
If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Bevvy content. We want to hear what you think, your best whiskey experiences, the whiskies you want us to try. It's a really exciting journey we're on, so make sure to join us. Download the Bevvy app on Google Play and App Store to keep track of your whiskey journey, connect with your whiskey friends, keep track of your favourites, anything you could ever want to do with whiskey, all in one place. It's the definitive whiskey companion.